Hilchis Eidus Perik Chi. So here the Rambam is going to give us the list of the 10 people that are Apostle Eidus, and then the next few prokim, the Rambam is going to discuss these 10 psulim, the 10 psulim. Perik Chi. Asore mini paslonisem. There are 10 types of paslonis in an Eidus, and kol mi shenimtze be'echad mehem is arei Apostle Eidus. Ve'elohein, Aleph, Anoshim. Women Apostle Eidus. Beis v'ho'avodim, and evet knaini is Apostle Eidus. Gimel v'haktanim, Dalid v'hashaitim, Hey v'hacharoshim. Generally a cheresh has a din of a shaita. A cheresh is ein shemeh, ein medaber, has a din of a shaita, but the Ram puts it into 2 categories. Vav v'hasumim, someone that's blind, we'll learn out from a pasuk that someone that's blind could not say Eidus, if he's blind in both eyes. And in others, sometimes you can say Eidus about something you didn't see, something you only heard. But if you're blind and you can't see, so then you cannot say Eidus. And Zayin v'horishoyim, Ches v'habzuyim, people that do things which are mevaza them. So the idea of Eidus, you trust the aid because lepel it's a bizoyin to say Eidus sheker. Masha'inkin, someone that's an ish bozi, a person that doesn't have any self-respect, and knows he acts in a way that doesn't respect himself at all. So mele, that person is not nemo to say Eidus. V'habzuyim, and tes v'akrevim, especially limit from a pasik. And Yud v'hanoigim be'edusam. Someone that's in the ger be'edus arei elu asara. Is nachamos, there's noshim, avodim, ktanim, shaitim, charoshim, hasumim, v'rishoyim, v'abzuyim, v'akrevim, v'hanegim be'edusam. These are asara which are possible. So the Rambam starts being mefaret all 10. Base, noshim, psulis la'edus min ha'teira, shnamar al pi shnayim edim. So v'dir loshen is shnayim, edim, is loshen zocher, le loshen nekeva. So here we learn out that edim have to be a zocher, not nekeva. V'chein, gimel, v'chein, hatumtum v'andregenes, is also psulim, mipnei shein sofik isha. V'chol mishu sofik kosher, sofik posel, is areu posel. Why? Because she'ena eid bo elu lehitzimam al piv. Oy lechayev al piv. And notice mechayev someone al piv, or lehitzimam al piv. And ve'ein mitziyin mammon misofik, and ve'ein ancient misofik dintera. So you can't be mitzimam misofik, you can't be minish misofik, and therefore someone that's a sofik isha cannot say Eidus. So the Rambam saying a general klal, someone that's a sofik kosher, sofik apostle cannot say Eidus, because the Eidus is coming either to give an oynish, which you can't give an oynish misofik, or to be moitzim mammon, or to be mechayev someone mammon. That's what the Rambam says. Now over here there becomes a dion. 2 things. First of all, the question is, when a suffix says Eidus, does it have a din of a suffix chiyuv? Does if a tumtum adregna says Eidus? And then the Rambam holds that when there's a suffix, if you're chuyev or not, so tfisa helps. Tfisa helps by a suffix. That's the shitzas Rambam. So the question is, if 2 eidim, a tumtum will be an aid to say that someone's chayiv mammon, and then the person that he was chayiv to went ahead and grabbed it. So Taka Bezin is not going to pass him that he owes the money, but they should become at least through this Eidus a din sofik mammon. That's an issue. There's Metraschinuch that says he Taka could, based on this Rambam, because it's only a sofik, and others tiny that he can't. It's not so clear why. But the Rambam says that the reason why he can't is because the Pele is coming lechayev mammon. So why can't he be mechayev misofik? That's a dion in the Achreinim. And then there's another dion that lechure, there's certain mitzvahs of Eidus which are not coming lechayev mammon, fakert. They're coming to be makar someone that's being mechayev mammon. Marshal, there's 2 Eidim coming along and say that this and this happened, and as a result of that, he owes the person money. And now there's another 2 Eidim saying it didn't happen, and Memele he doesn't owe the money. So these 2 Eidim are coming not lahitzi mammon, lahachzik mammon, to be machzik the mammon by the mitzvah and lepel. So why shouldn't the person that's a suffix at least be able to be, because lahachzik mammon? How's the Rambam saying that Eidus are coming only lechayvi mammon or lahitzi mammon? Why can we say that the Eidim are coming lahachzik mammon? That's a shaila which done. Some achreinim want to say that taka lahachzik he would be nama, which would be a very big chiddush. The Rambam doesn't say that. The Rambam says he's possible. The Rambam says the reason why he's possible because he's always coming lahitzi mammon or lechayev mammon. I mean, it could be that the pshara, since there's someone that's already being mechayevim, so maybe he has already a cheskes chiyuv. Now, when he's coming along and saying that he doesn't owe the money, it's kilo like he's being moitzi, because the teveya has already a din that he can have. But I'll call upon him, it needs birur to understand. But that's clear. The Rambam says clearly over here that someone that's a suffix is possible, there's a tumtum adreges is possible, and the reason why he's possible is because you can't be mechayev and you can't be moitzi misafik. That's what the Rambam says. You can minus misafik. So that was noshim is possible, and the Vayla we learned also a suffik noshim is possible. Halacha dalet ho'avodim psulim le'edus din teira shnemer be'edim vasisim lei kashazamam lasis la'achiv. So the law is talking about the Eid was which became an Eid Zemim, and he was lasis la'achiv to the person he was speaking about. Is Miklal, since it says that the Eid was trying to do something la'achiv, Miklal sha'achiv kameu. So he is like the achiv. That's pshat achiv. It doesn't mean brother, because you can't say Eidus about a brother. It's a karev. It means someone that's similar to you. Miklal sha'achiv kameu. Ma achiv ben bris, just like the achiv, the person you're saying Eidus about is a ben bris, is afo Eidus ben bris. And the fact that he's a ben bris, that's sheilul avod. That's what it says here. The fact that he's a ben bris is sheilul avod, because Eved is not called a ben bris, and kal v'chaimul agoyim. Because im avodim shebemixus ha-mitzvus psulim is agoyim likolshkit. So memela avodim apostle and goyim are also apostle. That's what the Rambam is saying. Now the Maisa is that the Gemara in Baba Kama says that an Eved is called a ben bris. The Gemara says Eved ben bris. First of all, he's chay b'milah. Eved is supposed to be mal your avodim. We're talking about Eved Kleini is chay b'milah. You have to be mal the avodim. That's number one. And also Eved is chay b'mitzvus. So he's mixus mitzvus. So he's achiv b'mitzvus. So the Loshna Rambam is Miklal Sha'achiv Komeu. Komeu maybe means completely Komeu. In other words, completely Komeu. In other words, Ma'achiv Ben Bris, he's a full Ben Bris. Is Av the Eid has to be a full Ben Bris. As you have to say Pshat in the Shittas Rambam over here. So the Rambam clearly paskins that Eved is Pasal Eidus and Alder is a Goy is Pasal Eidus. But again, the Goy being Pasal Eidus, that means there's a Mechudish de Kashita of the Sefer that's brought down the Rishenim from Sefer HaChochma, Rabbeinu Yakir, that they hold that an Eved is kosher that a Goy rather is a kosher Eidus, but a Goy is kosher Eidus. And they also want to say that that's Shittas Rashi, Rashi in Gittin, when he speaks about the concern of an Eid signing on a get, so he says the problem is because Eina ben Krisus. What have to come out to Eina ben Krisus, L'churi is Pasal Eidus. So from here, Tesis brings that Rashi holds, that a Goy is kosher Eidus. But I'll quote upon him, if you hold an Eved as Pasal Eidus, so an Eved is Pasal so certainly a Goy is Pasal If an Eved is Pasal there's a deal in the Gemara about it. So the Rambam says, the Rambam Paskin Eved is Pasal So if Eved is Pasal so Goy is certainly Pasal Now Misha Chetzi Eved v'Chetzi Ben Chen is also Pasal, because in order to be Kosher Eidus, you have to be a full Ben Chen. V'chol Misha Nishtachrer v'Areu Mechuser Get Shichrer is also Pasal. Achi Yagia Haget Liyodei v'Yidbel v'Yosem Mikalal B'nei Bris v'Achar Kach Yoy. So Islam says that when an Eved, in order for an Eved to become a Ben Chen, so there's a mitzvah, Mafkar Avdei is Yotzil L'Cheres, Tzarech get Shichrer. He still needs to get Shichrer. So in other words, he doesn't yet have the Rishus HaOdin, but on the other end, he needs to get Shichrer. He's Mechus to get Shichrer. So the Ram is saying that in order to become Kosher L'Eidus, it's not enough that he was Nishtachrer. It has to be also that he has a get Shichrer. V'chol mish Nishtachrer v'arei Mechus to get Shichrer is also his Pasal Eidus. It has to be Agia get Liyodei. And then also, the Agia get Liyodei, then he has to be V'yitpel. He should be Yitpel to become a L'shem Geirus Mamish. In other words, he was already Tevel to become an Eved. But now he's Tevel again in order to become a Ben Chayrin, to become a Ger like a Ben Chayrin. And then V'yosem Miklal B'nei Bris, and only V'achar Kach Yoid. That's what the Ram says. So that was the second thing. There was the Noshim, and then there was Avodim. There was Avodim, and then the Ram says Avodim, so certainly Goy. Then there's Haktanim. Haktanim Psulim Le'edus M'natera. Shneimar Be'edim V'omdu Shnei HaNoshim Asher Lehem Hariv L'fnei Hashem. So we learn our Anoshim V'leiktanim. It has to be Anoshim V'leiktanim. Afilu Hoya Akot Novin V'chocham is Areu Posel. He knows, and Seichel is smart, but nevertheless he's Posel. Ad Sheyavish Teisairis Acha Shleish Esi Shonim Muris. He has to bring Teisairis, and after Shleish Esi Shonim Muris, and only then he has a dinner of a Godel. The V'neigia L'esem Shona V'leihevish Teisairis V'neiled Be'simen Misimoni Soris is Arez Soris V'yoyed. We should have discussed Milchus issues. The Simoni Soris, that if a person who reached the Gil of Esem Shona and Lepel, he was Leihevish Teisairis, and he has Simoni Soris, so he has a din of a Soris and he's already a Godel. However, V'mlei Neilad Bey, he doesn't have Simoni Soris, is Le'yoyed Adrei Shneisa K'mishabiyanu B'hilchus issues. So the Ram discusses over there when there's a source, and there's normally you become a gadol when you're ben shleishes rishona and you have shtei cyrus. but a Saris doesn't bring Shtei Cyrus, he doesn't bring Simoni Gadlus. So the question is, at what point in time is he established as a Saris and a Gadol? So we say, if he has Simoni Saris, he can be established when he's 20 years old, or a month before he's 20 years old, the Rambam said over there in Hilchos Yishus. And if he doesn't have any Simoni Saris, but on the other hand, he didn't bring Simoni Gadlus, he has to wait till he's 35, whereas Yotzur Reiv Shneisov. Halacha Ches. Cotton Sheigir L'Klal Shneisov, Sheniru Bei Simoni Bagros Momaila, is Ein Tzar of Dika. So the cotton to become a Gadol really only becomes a Gadol if he has Simonim. The question is, do we assume that he has Simonim? So on that we're saying that if he already has Simoni Bagros Momaila, which is one of Simoni Bagros is also a Zokon, he has a Zokon, he has Cyrus of the Zokon, so that's called Simoni Bagros Momaila. It's not really a Din Simonim. Because Lemel, if a person has Simoni Bagros Momaila, and Lepel they were Beidik, and he doesn't have Simonim Momato, so then he's taken out a Gadol. It's a Simoni Bagros is only a Simon that Bepashtas he brought a Simon. And Mele, you don't have to be Beidik. Masha'in came, that's what he said. Cotton Sheigir L'Knal Shteisav, Sheniru Bei Simoni Bagros Momaila is any sort of B'dika. You don't have to be Beidik whether he was Heavy Simonim. However, V'im Lav, if he doesn't have Simoni Bagros Momaila, is a Mekabel Midusa, Achi Yibadik. The fact that he's 13 years old is not enough to be Mekabel Midusa. So if he doesn't have Simoni Bagros Momaila, so you have to be Beidik to see that he has the Simoni Mamsh. Ben Shleish Esi Shana V'yemechot Shehevish Tesaitis, and Ve'eni Yedea B'tiv Masu Matan, is Eini Dusa Eidus B'karkoy. So in other words, even though he's a Gadol, but Lepel, since he's Eini Yedea B'tiv Masu Matan, is as far as Karka is concerned, Eini Dusa Eidus. Mepnei She'eini Medaktik B'dvorim, Shari Eini Yedea, he doesn't really understand, and therefore he doesn't really pay attention to certain details. Avul Be'edus Metalton, as far as Eidus Metalton are concerned, is Mekabel Medusa Heil Vugadol. So Be'etzim he's a Gadol, and therefore his Eidus is Eidus, he's considered an Eid. But Lepel, since he's Eini Yedeh B'tiv Masu Matan, so we assume that he maybe doesn't really understand what he saw, because he doesn't, Eini Medaktik V'dover, so therefore we don't accept his Eidus B'negeh Karka. Halacha Tes. So we learned about Noshim, and we learned about Avodim, and we learned about Ktanim, the first three. Now the fourth is Shoita. HaShoita Posel Eidus V'natera. Now it says Lefisha Eini Ben Mitzvahs. Now normally you would assume that the reason why a Shoita is Posel Eidus because he's Eini Ben Das. Really, you can't really accept what he's saying. He's Eini Ben Das, just like we said before, someone that's Eini B'tiv Masu Matan can't say Eidus, even if he's a Gadol B'negeh Karka. So Al Derech Zeh L'chura Shoita can't say about anything. The Mice is, so there's a tshuva Rabbi Moshe Feinstein that he says that the Rambam is going to say Behemshel that even a person is a Sheitel L'davar Echad. Whereas Be'etzem he's a Bardas. He's not someone that ain't Beidas. He's a Sheitel L'davar Echad. And nevertheless, he has the din of a sheita, and the reason why, and the din of a sheita is that he's potem in mitzvahs. So the fact that he's apostle eidus is not because we don't accept what he's saying as being bedas. The reason he's apostle eidus is a special psul that he has to be ochim b'mitzvahs, and this sheita is not someone that's mechuyev b'mitzvahs. So mainly, so that's the psul that he's not about eidus. He's not someone that's potem in mitzvahs can't be in the hilchos of the parsha of eidus. Al kopon, that's what it says clearly in the Rambam. Halacha tes. Hasheita posel le'edus minatera. Why? Lefisha eini ben mitzvahs. Because since he's eini ben mitzvahs, so therefore he's posel le'edus. And v'lei sheita shumahalach orum or mishabel kelim or v'zerek avon belvad, which that person is also a sheita. Elakol misha nitrifa daite. V'nimtzaz daite mishabeshes tomit. Afilu b'dover min advorim. By him there's a psanitiva daite and daite mishabeshes tomit b'negei adover min advorim. Everything else he talks Kenyan. But there's a psadover min advarim that over there he's nishpisha daite mishabeshes tomid. So then his ari is a apostle. So he's apostle le'edus ubechlal hashetim yichoshev. He goes into together with sheita. So he doesn't have to be the sheita again of someone that's mahalachorim or mishaber kelim or things zeirik avonim. Even a person that's bedover min advarim is daite mishabeshes tomid. Even though everything else is Sheil Kinyan, is the Medaber Kedas, nevertheless, he didn't have a Sheita, and he's spot him in a mitzvahs, and he's spot Zoedus. Nichpa, someone that has epilepsy, is Be'ez Kfiyasi, while he's having this epileptic attack, is possible, because he has never Sheita at that point in time. Aber Be'eshu Bari, at the time that he's Bari, is kosher. Ve'echad Nichpa Mizman Luzman, occasionally, or Nichpa Tomed regularly, B'le'ez Kavua, Ivahu Shali. So that person is that person. So while he's a nichbe, so then he's puzzle, and while he's not being a nichbe, he's kosher. But who? When do we say that when he's not a nichpe, he's kosher? Shali tia daiti mishabeshes tomit. Shariyesham nichpim shigam beis briyusam daiti miturefes alim. There's a series of people that have this illness that even when they're well, they're also not mamish 100% well. They're daiti miturefes alim. And therefore, v'tzorech l'siyasha be'edus ha-nichpim harbi. Someone that's a nichpe, and he wants to say Eidus, you have to first establish clearly that be'ez while he's a nichpe, there's nothing to talk about. Masha'inki, while be'ez when he's not a nichpe, you have to l'siyasha v'dover harbi to establish that this person is daitim yusheves aleim. At that point in time, he has his das, and he's not a sheita, and in Mele, he's kosher Eidus. Halacha yud. Hapsoyim b'yeser, she'ena makirim dvorim asesim zeh zeh, v'yavinu in yoni adover, kedera shemevinim shar amoretz. There's a person that's a pesi, the Rambam is being magdir, someone doesn't see contradictions. In other words, you say one thing, you say another thing, and the two things are really contradicting each other, and he doesn't chap that it's a contradiction. V'yavinu in yoni adover, kedera shemevinim shar amoretz. He doesn't analyze things in a regular way. V'chein ha'mavuholim, people that are confused, v'anech pozim b'daitam, people that are like very quick and very, very not miyushav, the hepech ha'is yashvus, v'amishtagim b'daitam b'yoseh, they act very crazily, is arikol elu b'chlal ha'shetim. V'dover zeh lefi mashir ha'dayin she'yevshel lechavan ha'deis b'ksavtu. There's certain things that the Gemara says, simoni sheita, the Rambam said before, there is a mahalachorim, or there is shaver kalim. So these are simonim of a sheitel gabi other dinim. But over here the Rambam is saying benegea hilchas Eidus, the benegea hilchas Eidus to have a din of a sheiter. So he's saying apsoim b'yeser, people that don't chap what's happening. So that's also going to the gather of sheitim, and also someone that's a mavul and a nechpaz is all b'chlal sheitim. He says lefi mashir adayin. Now the Maaseh is that the Rambam said before that a sheiter is potem in mitzvahs. Vice is l'chura, the Pashtus Advarim, I'm not sure if that's, the Pashtus Advarim, that Apsoim B'Yeser doesn't go into a P'tur of mitzvahs. People that don't chapsach, the Apsoim B'Yeser, they wouldn't go l'chura together of P'tur min mitzvahs. They're going together that they can't say Eidus, because since the Apsoim B'Yeser, they don't chapsach of things that contradict each other, so you can't really rely on what they're saying. Al derazem b'vuholim, and echpazim b'daitim. The question you have to move out of whether or not these people, the Rambam said clearly before that a sheit is potem min mitzvahs, and that's the reason why he's ein a royal Eidus. And now the Rambam is also adding that psoim b'yeser are also have a din of sheitim. This is a hamshel to the din of sheitim. Harei b'chlal ha-sheitim. So the question b'chlal ha-sheitim legabi that the apostle Eidus, but not b'chlal ha-sheitim necessarily legabi the din that the potem min mitzvahs l'chura. Halacha yudalef hacheresh kisheita. She'ein dait in the chene ve'ein b'mitzvahs. Now normally the type of cheresh is a cheresh she'ein shemea ve'ein medaber. That's the cheresh which has the din of a sheita, is someone that ein shemea ve'ein medaber, and that's this din a cheresh kisheita she'ein dait in the chene and ve'ein b'mitzvahs. Mainly is also possible Eidus. Now the Rambam is saying that b'negei hilchos Eidus there's a din that someone that's a cheresh, that's a shemea ve'ein medaber, or he's a medaber of Eidus Shemei, is also possible Eidus. And over here it's not the psul of Eidus of a sheita, but there's a special din that he has to be someone that's a Shemei, and he has to be someone that's a medaber. That's his din. Then the Rambam continues, he says, Ve'echot cheresh shemedaber ve'einu Shemei, eish Shemei ve'einu medaber, aval pi sheriyosei riya mu'ula, v'daiti nochena, he's someone that's able to see things, and he also has a proper das, nevertheless, tzorich lohoid bebezdin bepiv, he has to be either made bebezin bepiv, eishiyeroi l'hoid lepiv, and also v'yeroi l'shmeya divrei adayonim v'ha'iyum shema'ayim menolav. So you have to have an aid, has to be someone that can hear, be able to hear the iyum adayonim, the divrei adayonim. That's number one. And he also has to be someone that can speak. He has to speak. He has to either say his agod bebezin, because the Ram said before, "V'piyam v'leimi piksavim." And even a mashal shtar, which you could sign, there's a special kula that by a shtar you could sign even mipiksavam, but that's only someone that could speak. Someone that could speak could also sign a shtar. Masha'inkin, someone that cannot speak, so therefore he's also not roy to sign a shtar. That's not a roy to shtar. V'chein im nishtatik is afal pishin nivda kedera shebeitin ligitn v'nimtzas edusim mechuvenes. So first the din was like this, nachamo. Ve'echad cheresh shemedaber ve'einu shemea, shemea ve'einu medaber. By both of them is possible. Aval pi shiriyos yiriyah mu'ula, he's able to see, he's not a suma, and v'daiti nechena, nevertheless, tzorich l'hoid bebezin bepiv, he has to be able to say Eidus bebezin bepiv, eishiyeh roi l'hoid bepiv. And also, v'yeh roi l'shmeya divrei adayon, v'ayin shmai me'ov. So an aid that's not able to either speak or to hear is not an aid. V'chein im nishtatik, if he became shtum, and when he saw the Eidus, he was able to say the Eidus. But lepel now is nishtatik, aval bishen nivda keder shebeit kaligiten, v'nemtzas Eidusei michuvenes, v'heid b'fonenu b'ksav yodei, ein Eidus klal, chutz me'Eidus isha, l'fi sheba'aguni hikilus. So in order to say Eidus isha, that the isha, that mezbaila, so over there you could go ahead and say Eidus even b'ksav. The special din be aguni hikilu, that they could say Eidus that mezbaila. Mashenkin, normally you can't say Eidus b'ksav if the person, if you can't speak, you can't say Eidus. Normally the Rambam holds, even if you could speak, you can't say Eidus b'ksav, because we mentioned that Rashi holds also you're not allowed to send your Eidus b'ksav. The Rabbi Tam holds that if a person could speak, he could send his Eidus b'ksav. The Rambam holds like Rashi that you can't send your Eidus b'ksav. However, the Rambam holds that by shtar, b'negem mominus, you could write b'ksav. B'negem mominus, you could do b'ksav. So that's the chiddush, that if someone can't speak, so even those places where you could do b'ksav, but since he can't speak, so mainly they can't do it b'ksav as well. Halacha Yud Beis. Hasumin, it's another psul, Hasumin, Aval pi shemakirin hakel, even though they recognized the kel, and v'yodu sha'anoshim, yodu ha'anoshim, they knew the people that was involved in it. They heard the story. They heard the story. The malva is speaking to the leva, and the malva says that he's lending him money, and the leva says, "Yeah, I borrowed the money." He hears clearly the story, but he can't see the malva and the leva. He can't see them. So the din is harei el psulim and atera shnema v'hu eid eiroi yoda. Mishu royal liris who shemeid. In order to be able to be made, you have to be a royal liris. And vasum avachas made of is kosher. You don't have to have eyesight of both eyes. You have to be royal liris. If you're not a royal liris, you cannot say Eidus. But mashmois advarim is that you have to be a royal liris, but you don't have to be royal the person. Whereas you could say Eidus based on hearing the voices. That's the pashtus advarim. Whereas if you can't say Eidus based on hearing the voices, so then you don't need a psul of a person that didn't see. Lepel, he didn't see, so maybe he can't say Eidus. The answer is no, he could say Eidus. But you have to be someone that could see in order to be say Eidus. Mashenkin, if you could see, and Lepel you didn't see, so then you could say Eidus. Now the question is, could you say Eidus based on Shmiras Hakel only Legabi Dinim Ominous, or so you also could say Eidus based on Shmiras Hakel Legabi Dinim Nefashos? That's a big machlekes. The Sos and the Sivas also about it, whether or not you could say Eidus based on Shmiras Hakel, on those Tvias Eina Dekola, the Gemara says. So there's certainly a musik called Tvias Eina Dekola. Mashenka, the question is, based on Tvias Eina Dekola, could you say Eidus in order to kill someone? So that's a machlekes achrim. But here it's clear that a summa can't say Eidus because he didn't see it. The reason he can't say Eidus is because there's a psul in him. A summa can't say Eidus. He has to be someone that's royal liris.